Let's check out what Nigerian newspapers are saying this morning, talking about the big stories. We have a host of them right here before us. We are looking at First News now. It's captioning its big story as disaster, saying that 50 persons perish in the Jigawa flood, and goes on to add that many others are displaced. We brought to you a bit of that story earlier on, how many others are displaced and received batch of relief items from the federal and state governments. Over now to Daily Trust. 140 days after federal government loses 3 billion naira on halted Kaduna Abuja train service. A Daily Trust there, 140 days after the Kaduna Abuja train service attack, federal government loses 3 billion naira on halted services. Now to Blueprint. It says terrorists in disarray as Nigeria Air Force bombards Kaduna and Niger states. Terrorists in disarray as the Nigerian Air Force bombards Kaduna and Niger states. Let's check out The Nation now. The Inspector General raising alarm over plot to attack public facilities. DCO abducted in Abia State. Gunmen invade school, kill teacher in Nasarawa State. That's the state of the country, talking about insecurity there being highlighted on the front page of The Nation. The leadership, finally, is also towing the line of The Nation, also reporting on the level of insecurity in the country. It says, on watertight security directive, experts ask IGP to go beyond empty orders. Memo disclosure. That's on the leadership. Mike?
All right, let me start with the Daily Times here. That's where we start from on this side. APC, not Nigeria's problem. Lukman is saying this, and has some writers there that says ruling party has been bold enough to admit existence of challenges. Describes party's presidential candidate Bola Tinubu as unique, sellable candidate. That's what Daily Times has. From there, let's go to the Punch newspaper. Economic crisis is the focus here. Nigeria's 9 trillion naira oil revenue threatened. Federal government blames theft. Oil production crashes by over 28 million barrels. The government misses revenue targets. That's what the Punch newspaper says here. From there, let's go to this Nigeria. Missing 17.128 billion naira. Termites ate up the vouchers, says the NSITF, as a social insurance trust fund. No documents to back up money is transferred to untraceable individuals' companies' accounts. The Senate is saying this. Recall that there was a time we had snakes and monkeys swallowing up monies in this country. I guess termites have also joined in the list of animals or insects that are involved eyeing Nigeria's money too. From there, let's move to Nature News. Nature News says, despite 64.8 billion naira budget on waste management, Rivers State stinks. That's what Nature News has. It's beaming a searchlight on Rivers State. Okay, from there, let's go to the Abuja Inquirer. 29 billion naira ground rent. FCTA lists 430 title holders for prosecution. 5 law firms contracted. Court process starts August ending. That's what the Abuja Inquirer has in there. Let's move now to the Nigerian News Direct. First quarter reports as quarter one or Q1 reports. Despite insecurity, banks rake billions as profit. As manufacturers, farmers shut operations, all right? Banks rake in billions as profit despite insecurity. That's what the Nigerian News Direct has. And from there, let's go to the Business Day. Cash-strapped Nigeria prioritizes disputed Paris Club payment. All right, that's what you see on the front page of Business Day. And Business AM is the last one I have in here. And it says ExxonMobil on historic Nigerian court appearance in $23 million suit. Okay, that's what Business Day has. Kemi.
So many interesting stories there as we see. Of course, we brought a particular one up, and that's during the news update, and that was also reflected in the papers. I think Guardian had it also gave some more information regarding the rescue of some captives from the camp of Boko Haram. One of them, a 12-year-old who was in captivity, who had been in captivity since she was a toddler. And then we also have an Aisha Grema, who was among the Chibok girls rescued, only last Friday, and she had been in captivity since 2014 of that outrageous attack. And she wasn't alone. Her 4-year-old child was also said to have been rescued with her. It just, kinds of, rub off on me, giving me a very disturbing feeling because, this is not just, we are seeing different dimensions to the level of insecurity, level of insurgency that is pervading the country at this time. And now that these people have been rescued, it also gives you a sense of the kind of rehabilitation and reintegration that they may also have to contend with to face normal life again.
It's what they call a Pyrrhic victory.
Really?
What do we do? We have not been free. What do we do with our freedom? Is it the kind of freedom we wanted? It's almost like an anticlimax.
Right.
They were young, they were vibrant, they were optimistic, they were full of life when they were taken away. And now they have been under their oppressors for years, going almost to a decade. And they're now, you were made a mother when you were not ready. You were made to know a man when you were not ready. You were disrupted from taking a path to being a professional, to being a learned person. That did not happen. You didn't choose the kind of man you wanted. You didn't choose the kind of life you wanted. And then you get to a stage where you're already a mother, you're already wearied, you don't have the opportunity to start education the way you wanted, and then you are given freedom. Now, what is the value of this freedom? They have to now recalibrate, now retone their lives, to say, what do I do now with this life, this freedom that I now have? How valuable is this freedom? In this life, there is hope. So they need counseling, they need a lot of advice, they need also to get what they call drivenness, to be driven from within and get their lives back. But it tells us the scar of what these bandits
are living
behind.
Absolutely. And
in fact,
all that, I'm sorry, Mike, but all the stages of help that this former captives will get doesn't appear to be something that will be done overnight. It's going to be a continuous process. It may be painful, but I guess the end will determine the means.
The reality is some of them may never recover from that experience for the rest of their lives, because like Sam was pointing it out, where they were supposed to be nurtured by their fathers and mothers,
they were
and relatives, they were cut off from that line, from that link, because like we say, the umbilical cord, when you're born, your umbilical cord is no longer there, but we have this connection in Africa to our families and parents for a period of time where you're nurtured and then prepared for the society. So these people were cut off, and then they started a new life when they were not ready, as Sam had pointed it out, painted the picture earlier on. So these people grew up, and you wouldn't know what kind of promises that the Boko Haram human beings made to them at what point. So at a point, the Stockholm Syndrome sets in. We've seen a situation where these people come, some people are rescued to their families, and then they prefer to go back because they don't know any other life. They are coming back to their families where sometimes their parents are poor, nothing is guaranteed. Daddy and mommy makes a promise they cannot keep because they don't have what it takes to give them whatever they promised them. But meanwhile, maybe sometimes the Boko Haram members give them a promise of, I will give you 10,000 naira, whatever the thing is. And sometimes they fulfill their promise within that space. So they are forced to weigh which one is more promising to them and all of that. And it's going to be very terrible, but it tells the kind of hard work that we need to do. But it also goes back to security agents. He also tells you the enormous work that security agents are doing. If as of now you see that security agents are still able to rescue some people who are held captive, it tells you that the security agents are working hard, and we have to give them all the support they need.
Absolutely,
you know, to be more successful.
Very, very valid indeed. But two things from me. For me, Sam said the question what to do with the life, the new life that they've also been given. You know that is a big question for many of these people, because they are young, but then they seem to have seen it all. They seem to have borne it all, and having to given a new list of life comes with a lot of uncertainties. But then I recall an interview I read a while ago that on the one hand, the way society looks at them is also not kind. Many of them, are now seen as, sympathizers of the Boko Haram insurgency. So there is a level of distrust that they may also contend with from maybe their family or even outside.
Or even stigma.
Or even that stigma that they are now unclean because they have been touched and there's this mark on them. You mentioned that issue, that critical issue of, combating the Stockholm syndrome. Now, the government might also be looking at them like, how do we even handle these people? They are young, but then they've stayed years. The only place they can call home, they've been in the criminal's den. So
for government, I feel they know what to do.
Right.
For
to
government,
purge them
for
or get
they know what to
information
do.
from them.
The only thing there is that what government has to do, the impact, the result of what we want to see government do, how it's going to translate into that actual impact or the actual result is what is going to make the change. Otherwise, for government, they know what to do.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen.